Hi, my name is Paul, and I'm going to share with you the story called The Biggest Christmas Tree Ever. Once upon a time, there were two mice who fell in love with the same Christmas tree, but you had to see it to believe it. Everyone in Mouseville loved Christmas trees. Every Christmas, families all over town put up the biggest, most beautiful tree they could find. But first came Thanksgiving, the day before the celebration. Clayton, the house mouse, took a walk around Mouseville. He knew he should be thinking about giving thanks, but the chill in the air reminded him of Christmas. "You know what?" he said out loud. "This year I'm going to find the biggest Christmas tree ever." And so they're all out looking for trees. Not far away, Clayton's friend, Desmond, the field mouse, said exactly the same thing. He's going to find the biggest Christmas tree ever. That night, Clayton helped his mom and dad, his brother Andy, and his sister Trudy make a special cheese casserole and a nut pie for Thanksgiving dinner. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond and his brother Morris helped Uncle Vernon fix a big pot of vegetable stew and cheesecake. Everyone ate too much. After dinner, Clayton's grandma and grandpa sat in the living room, holding their tummies and moaning. Over at Desmond's, the cousins from across the road stretched out on Uncle Vernon's sofa, and they all took a nap. The following morning, Clayton woke up early. He wanted to be the first at Clara's Christmas tree farm at the edge of town. That way he could have his pick of the biggest trees. And over at Desmond's house, Desmond tumbled out of bed with the same thought. Clayton hurried over to Clara's Christmas tree farm, but it was hard to go very fast. He was too full of Thanksgiving dinner. By the time he reached the Christmas tree farm, he was out of breath. He looked around. No one else was there. Moments later, Desmond arrived too. He too was full of Thanksgiving dinner, and he also had found it hard to hurry. He took a deep breath and stumbled inside the Christmas tree farm. Clayton wobbled down the rows. Here was a nice one, but it was much too small. There was another, but it was squat and had a crooked top. Over there was a third, but it was just of average height and had big gaps between the branches. Struggling down another row, Desmond was having the same problems. They're both looking for trees. Clayton leaned against a tree. It was scrawny and not very tall. "I'll never find the tree I want," he said. "I better go home." And not far away, squinting at another tree, Desmond said, "And I'll never find the tree I want. I'd better go home." So they're both sort of giving up. When Clayton reached his house, it was only the middle of the morning, but he was still full, and he was tired. He fell back into bed. When Desmond reached his house, he too went back to bed. Clayton woke up for lunch and spoke to his dad. Dad said, "Go out this afternoon, walk to the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. The biggest trees are out there." When Desmond woke up for lunch, Uncle Vernon told him the same thing. That afternoon, Clayton went out again. At the very same time, Desmond did too. Clayton walked to the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. He looked at one big tree after another, but none of them looked like the biggest Christmas tree ever. Down another path, Desmond was having the same bad luck. They set out through the rows of trees. They looked and looked until it was almost dark. And just as they were ready to give up, there it was, a Christmas tree so big and so tall, it reached right up to the sky. How will we cut it down? Clayton asked. It's much too big for the two of us. Where will we put it? Desmond added. It won't fit into your house or mine. Clayton and Desmond smiled together. Our families will help us, they said. And that is what happened. Clayton's dad and Uncle Vernon came out with their axes, and with the help of Clayton and Desmond, they chopped down the giant Christmas tree. Both families called on friends and relatives, and together they loaded the tree onto 100 little red wagons and pulled it to Clayton's front yard. There they decorated it with the most wondrous ornaments and colored lights. Look at that big tree and all those wagons and all the people pulling the wagons. And on Christmas Eve, with all of Mouseville celebrating together around the tree, the biggest Christmas tree ever lit up the entire hillside. Clayton and Desmond shared a high five. We did it, said Clayton. We did it. All of us together, said Desmond.